Hey guys, remember this place? It's a chilly, brisk, breezy but otherwise beautiful day here at Bramble Cottage in southwest Scotland, and this is Stina with a quick life update. A happy new year to anyone who's still tuning into our channel. We've missed you guys and we've missed doing this. We've been so quiet and there's been good reasons for that, so we wanted to put out a quick update on life at Bramble Cottage now, and then we hope to do a longer and more detailed video about the reasons for our YouTube silence over the last 6 months. But before we do that, let's just go into what's changed around here, what we've been up to.
Well, first of all, we finally got the septic tank checked and emptied. A lovely guy came out. He took a look at it and reckoned it hadn't been done in 10 years. He showed me where the tank underneath was starting to pull away from the caging, and that is apparently the point at which it gets really potentially expensive, so we're relieved to have had that done. As you can see, the cover is in not the best state, so we still need to replace some bits around it. Last year we told you that we had tried to install a Tado smart heating system so that we can individually control rooms in the house and save money and carbon footprint that way, and it was a complete washout. The system is not fit for purpose. The company was difficult to deal with. They made it difficult to take the product back, even though it clearly was never going to work for our house. But moving on to more positive news, this year we've tried again with the Drayton Wiser system, and they use a different communication method, a Zigbee mesh network rather than radio waves, and the experience has been completely different, and the company is really nice to deal with. They've given us old school customer service for the one small simple issue that we did have, which was incompatible valves for some of our radiators, and they sent us some free replacements, which was great. We've been using this system for a few months now. We've already extended it to cover the entire house. It really works for us. We'd recommend it, to be honest. Unlike Tado, it's not interfered with by large metal objects like the fridge or the radiators themselves. Followers of the channel will recognise this oil boiler that we have here, and whilst that's now working well again, it broke down again this autumn, we still have a pressure issue in the system. So we've been living here a year and a half now, and the central heating system loses pressure on a daily basis, and we've excluded everything else. So the boiler had a few issues, leaking bits of water, some of the radiators were dripping. Every time we find a leak we fix it, and we're still losing pressure, so we can only assume there's a leak under the screed floor somewhere in the house, and there's a lot of screed floor in the house. So we've recently bought a thermal imaging camera, and we're hoping, that's going to be our next project. We're hoping that we can use that to go around the house and look for suspicious areas and see if we can find that leak. We're at a bit of a loss for where to look now. I work from home, so I spend half my life in our little office, which is in one of the medium old parts of the house, and which therefore suffers from a socket problem. So Cameron's been having fun with his new SSD drill and has cut some new grooves into the masonry of the wall there, and has installed many more sockets, which is great. Meanwhile, I've cut a huge hole in the hallway ceiling on the hunt for a leak, which I now think is the result of condensation due to lack of venting, and that's as far as I got. So this is the veggie patch I set up last year, and I completely failed to put in any winter vegetables. It's looking pretty awful right now. The biggest problem I had was that moles were coming in. Every time I planted something in the bed, the moles would push them right back out again, so they just ran out of time in the autumn to put anything in. And last year I put in various brassicas, just in small quantities, old seeds I just wanted to use up, and I've never seen kale get frosted off before, but it did. Despite my failure with the vegetables, there has been progress towards the food forest that I'm developing here. So I've added a bunch of new shrubs, including 2 hazels so that they can pollinate each other, one of which is a tall straight cob nut and the other of which is contorted, and also a whole load of perennial vegetables, often shade-loving perennial vegetables that I can plant down our alleyway where it gets particularly dark at certain times of year, and I'm looking forward to seeing them come up in spring. Of course, with a house surrounded by hedges, then there's the inevitable hedge cutting to do, so we did that in September, and it's a lot. But anyway, you do a hedge and you get your clippings, and
we were able to shred those, and so I've got this huge bag of mulch, and I've got more to come. There's piles of stuff still to be shredded, and so I'm gradually using the hedge clippings to mulch all of the beds around the site, which will really help suppress weeds, but also just feed back the earth, because I don't know, anyone who's followed this channel will know that this whole site's been covered in plastic liner and gravel for years and years, and so once we scrape off the gravel and pull back the plastic liner and try and sort of retrieve the land underneath it, it definitely needs feeding. So this mulch goes a long way towards that. Right, so this is my rabbit proofed garden area as it looks right now, and I'm well aware it really doesn't look like much. There's been a lack of weeding, but there are actually beds here. This one's the newest bed that was just put in a few weeks ago, and it's got plants in there, but the time of year doesn't really show them off to best effect. We've got an apple tree that went in last year in the corner there. There's a plum doing well just over here, and then that's the bench where Cameron sat several months ago when we were first starting this channel, and said that we'd moved to this area for him to take on a job, and he'd just lost that job, and it was one of the reasons we started this channel. So now, one of the exciting things that's happened in the last 6 months that's put a sort of hold on this channel is that Cameron's got a new job at a really nice place, a non-profit, which is what both of us prefer. And so he's doing really well there. It's looking promising, but it's just left much less time than what we had before to do videos. I said this garden was rabbit proof, but I don't know if you can see there are scuffs in the earth in this bed all over the place, so the rabbits are still getting in. And on one occasion I came out here and found that one had got in and was starting to dig a burrow in my newly rabbit proof garden, so that's not great. And they're getting in via that hedge at the back there, so that actually backs onto the track, and it's already got wire fencing in it that's mostly pretty good. So somewhere in the depths of that hedge there are holes. Sometimes I see the rabbits run for them, but I still haven't been able to work out exactly where they are. So one of the jobs for me in the new year, when it gets a little bit warmer maybe, but before the leaves start to grow back, is to crawl along that hedge on my belly and see if I can find where the holes are in that fence, because I really, really need to stop the rabbits from getting into this garden. I hear the scampering of feet when I come out here fairly regularly. One thing you'll have noticed is that I've got a load of new arches on the property. So there's one here leading into the garden area and another here. And then I've got another one the same as the first in a different area, and I've got a wooden one which I haven't put up yet at all. And that one's going to be put on the other side of the house, where we've got a small picket fence, and we'd like to do up the gate a little bit and have a rambling rose over a wooden arch towards the old front door there. These came from a standard garden centre supply, but they are from a seller that sells what I think are second, so quality not quite up to scratch. And it's just, to be honest, they've been absolutely fine. There's been one or two with a rusty weld that didn't go quite well, and the only thing that was wrong with them was that the hinges were a little bit bent. And otherwise they're pretty much fine. You wouldn't know it to look at it, but this dingy corner's actually changed quite a lot. We met a couple in Free Cycle who wanted gravel as much as we want rid of it, and so we have had them visit, I think, 3 times to fill a huge trailer with gravel, mostly scraped up from this corner, but also from some other parts of the site. Eventually I want to get rid of all of it and turn this into a much greener bit of garden. It's a nice sheltered corner. We've got these white walls and the fence that are going to bounce the heat around, so I've put some more of my heat loving plants like a hardy kiwi in this corner, and that pot in the centre, that's my new medlar. Now this is the thing I'm really excited about. It doesn't look like much yet, but when we first came here there was a blue rotten Wendy house in this corner, and then we dug that out and we put in some compost bins. And they're still there, although I've moved them around a bit. But we also have our wheelie bins in this corner, our really garish orange and blue topped wheelie bins. And so this is the beginnings of my dead hedge that I've been putting in just to hide all that. And it doesn't look like much yet, and it's held together with bamboo canes because I don't have any hazel poles or anything better at the minute. But I think as that starts to pack down, and as I put in better stakes to hold it in place, it's going to end up with beautiful textures. And you know, each time we cut a hedge I'll try and pick a different species, so we get sort of layers of different things going along here. Lots of texture, lots of habitat space. You can see straight through it at the minute, but in time that should start to fill out and get more dense, and I'm really looking forward to that bit. I also went out and bought a few second-hand or cheap insect hotels like this one, and we've been putting them up in various places. These aren't ideal at the minute because the holes, these holes on the tops here, they're too big for most insects. They're not actually designed very effectively, but now that we have the shapes and structures of them in the coming spring, we can take these apart a little bit and start putting in more suitable habitats, pieces of wood with multiple different hole sizes drilled into them and things like that. We've happily doubled the number of bird feeders we have, so in here we've got traditional seed, mixed wild bird seed, peanuts, and then I chuck some on the drive as well because our collared doves enjoy those. Now for the second most exciting piece of news since we last did a video. We finally sold our house in the north of Scotland. It sat on the market for well over a year, and it was really hard going because we were driving 6 hours up to the north to mow the lawn and do maintenance, check on everything, about once a fortnight on average. And it's just the exhaustion that adds when you're also working full time and also doing various other things, including a YouTube channel. It was just phenomenal. So finally that went in September, I think it was, and then, you know, the inevitable anticlimax. But this wall here, this was the treat. So once we'd sold the house, we'd agreed we were going to get to paint a wall of the house white. So the bucket of paint, this was 10 litres, went onto this pebble dash. It soaked it up so fast. The bucket of paint ran out just before that final little bottom right hand corner, so you can see what colour it was before and now how much brighter and fresher it all looks. And I've done the window frames as well, and I did all of this at the beginning of November when it was just on the edge of being too cold to use the paint. So I'll show you the other walls. Eventually we want to get all of these grey walls painted the same fresh white and all those brown window frames. A lot of them are rotten, so we'll need to do a fair bit of maintenance on quite a few of them. So at least one of them's got a hole going straight through to the house, so we'll need to be taking out bits of window frame and replacing them, paint them the much brighter shade of green, and then paint the walls that same shade of white.
Now that we don't have the house sale to worry about, I've also discovered a new hobby, and that's something I do approximately every 5 minutes, but on this occasion it's been a really good one because it's a really practical hobby. Tufting has been a bit of a fad over the last few years, but what I discovered is that you can use it to make small bath mats, larger kitchen rugs, seats for chairs, which is what my current first project is to do. And so where we struggle to afford nice thick pile carpets from the shops, although this has turned out to be quite an expensive hobby, I did find someone who is selling off ends of cones for Axminster carpets, and that means that I can get the materials to make a carpet more cheaply than I can buy a new carpet. So this feels like a good investment to me. We've got an awful lot of cold stone floors in this house and not nearly enough rugs. Having said that, we have also reacquired our original rugs from our old house along with all our old furniture, so the house is feeling much cosier now. We're no longer sleeping on mattresses and keeping stuff in boxes quite as much. It's starting to feel like a real home.